Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're here with the Dark Elves today, going to be taking on the foul forces of Chaos, so let's go ahead and jump straight to the army compositions. Decided to take good old Malekith here today, one of the strongest characters in the game, hybrid melee and spellcaster. Excellent combat stats overall, and on the cold one he has nice armor piercing values as well, 110 armor, 65 charge bonus, and also carries Lore of Dark Magic. So we've got the Soul Stealer and Power of Darkness to get more winds of magic and then to be able to heal Malekith. Soul Stealer is very, very important in that aspect because Malekith, even in this guise, is pretty expensive, so you want to be able to keep him alive. You've also got the Gaze of Malice and the Circlet of Iron. I opted not to bring the other items just to try and make him a little bit cheaper, but the Circlet of Iron is just such a good item. Plus 50% map-wide miscast chance, so anytime your opponent overcasts a spell, it's automatically going to miscast and deal damage to their caster, so just kind of one of those map-wide things that's going to constantly generate value, so very good stuff. We've also got a Death Hag up on the Cauldron of Blood here, supported by a unit of Witch Elves, and Blackguard of Naggarond, and one unit of Hargoneth Executioners supported by a whole mess of Dread Spears. We've also got some Dark Riders with repeater crossbows, one here and one in the woods over on the far side. They're currently completely obstructed due to the very dense pine trees of Naggarond. We've also got two units of Cold One Chariots. The good old lizard limos here with their armor-piercing missiles, armor-piercing anti-infantry weapon strength, and just overall great units. Very cost-effective in a multitude of situations. Not to mention, they've got this super cool unicycle design with this one huge wheel at the very back. Very interesting looking chariots. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my build, so let's go ahead and look at the Ruinous Powers here. We've got two units of Chaos Poison Warhounds, some Chaos Knights with Lances. The Lord is going to be good old Archaon, the ever-chosen Lord of the End Times here, so it looks like we're going to be having a little bit of a masterclass, you know, kind of hybrid Lord duel between Malekith and Archaon. He's also got an Exalted Hero for support. Let's go ahead and look at the loadout here. So he does have Kindle Flame, Cascading Firecloak, and Burning Head. So a nice cheap loadout there for Archaon. And I'd imagine, yep, looks like he's got the Mark of Khorne here for the Exalted Hero, which gives him this 8% charge bonus, 8 melee attack, 12 weapon damage, and immune to psychology. In terms of the infantry, it's a mix of Chaos Warriors with Grey weapons and Chaos Marauders with Grey weapons. And I think that's pretty much it. I may have missed a unit or here or there. Looks like we do have some more Chaos Knights with Lances and Hounds in the forest here. And let's go ahead and kick the battle into full gear as these Dark Riders retreat through the woods here, try and run away from these Hounds. We are going to draw these Cold One Chariots to meet them. I couldn't actually see these Chaos Knights in the moment. They're currently hidden in the woods there, so we're going to use these Cold One Chariots, who actually do have a bonus versus infantry, so although they won't plow the unit models over just because Hounds can't actually get knocked over, they do still have a bonus versus infantry, meaning they'll do very well, weirdly enough, in this combat, although it may not seem super intuitive to kind of throw them in here against Hounds. You can see the Hounds are starting to take a bit of damage. I mean, the attack animations are a little bit awkward, but the Cold Ones will get in here and kind of chomp on the heads a little bit. You can see there of the Hounds, and with that bonus versus infantry, they'll actually be able to deal with them. I mean, they're not going to do it super fast, but they will be able to win here, especially being that they cause fear and the Hounds have relatively poor leadership. But I do spot these Chaos Knights with Lances, so we're going to try and get the heck out of there. Fortunately, he did get the better of those Dark Riders with repeater crossbows, and we're just advancing the main line here, kind of looking to poke and prod my opponent and see if we can force him into an unfavorable situation. That being said, Cold One Chariots do have armor piercing and melee, so they would be okay against these Chaos Knights, but I really don't want to leave them here for too long. And the fact is that while they're pulling away, they may be able to get some shots with their armor piercing missiles at point blank and be able to do a little bit of damage in that way as well. Not to mention, we're just pulling back with the infantry line. While we've got this mobility engagement that I can potentially win, we just want to try and isolate as much as possible and not take that frontline engagement right away. So yeah, using the Dark Riders there to do some nice little bit of damage there, taking out a few unit models. Actually, one unit model only so far of those Chaos Knights with Lances, but again, just going to be using these Cold One Chariots to kind of bog down some unit models here and allow them to be shot up. You can see the Cold One Chariot himself actually just shot down the unit model there, so it's pretty solid. We've been able to do some pretty good HP damage to those Chaos Knights and take down 5 unit models, so you can see my opponent now realizing that he's pretty heavily outranged. He's going to start advancing here, so at this point we're just going to, again, pull back. I want to try and take this engagement in as favorable a place as possible, so we're going to try and kind of pull back to about right here or so. Gaze Malice going down there. You want to use that on armored troops, so I decided to throw it on these Chaos Marauders. Did some okay HP damage and got a couple of kills there. And again, the Hounds being separated from the rest of the forces there. We're going to come in with the Chariots and try and rout them off real quick. It's pretty dangerous because these Chaos Knights with Lances are coming, and they have a devastating charge bonus. They are going to get a nice clean charge here, connect with a few of the unit models, and do a ton of damage. You can see this unit of Cold One Chariots takes enough damage to actually enrage, so they're pretty much done for, but that is going to allow these Chaos Knights to have something to chew on, which hopefully means that we're going to be able to get out of here. But more Hounds coming in, very nicely played from my opponent. He's also getting his Hounds on these Dark Riders here, so very well played there. We're going to use Malekith to come in and try and beat some of these Hounds down. Meanwhile, the Cold One Chariots are mostly having to fend for themselves. I mean, they will beat the Hounds eventually, given enough time, but it's going to take them a while, and the Chaos Knights just finished off that last Cold One Chariot of the other unit. Meanwhile, again, just pulling back in the main line, we want to try and take this engagement in an area where the Death Hag and the other large units get all of their bonuses. But you can see the Exalted Hero coming in here for Malekith with the Poison Hounds nearby. The Exalted Hero will do okay here. I mean, obviously he doesn't have the AP values of Malekith or the raw combat stats. Archaon's coming as well, though, and Archaon does have the combat stats to hang around in this fight. He has better raw combat stats overall. Obviously, he doesn't have the AP values, but he does have magic damage, which, I mean, Malekith does have 20% physical resistance currently. I don't believe that's from any effect. I'd have to look and check to see if that's actually baseline, but you can see Malekith is definitely not taking the better end of this engagement. He's getting gooned pretty hard here, so we're going to pull back away, just, you know, shoo those Hounds off and try and get to a safer position here. You can see the Chaos Knights were able to pretty much clean up this pocket here. No more Cold One Chariots, unfortunately for me, and the other unit of Chaos Knights Lance is now turning the corner here, what's going to be a very dangerous situation for me. We did get the Hargoneth Executioners into the mainline engagement over here, and then over here, we've got the Witch Elves and the Black Art of Nagaron pulling in to help support Malekith in this engagement. You can see Archaon's very aggressively pathing after Malekith. That's going to allow us to collapse here with these Black Guard and Isolate. And the Witch Elves are also going to start to get some attack animations here. So Malekith's going to pull up and around and start to come back in this fight, especially with the Enrage here. Archaon now can't cast any spells, can't do anything good like that, so we're going to drop another Soul Stealer to heal Malekith here, and then also pull him in to duel Archaon once more. So we'll grab some sweet cinematic action as these guys start to duke it out here. You can see the Witch Elves, the Black Art of Nagaron all surrounding Archaon, so we're definitely getting the better of this engagement at this point. And Malekith doing some fancy little tail whips there. It doesn't even look like he's doing the attack animations in the right direction, but I suppose they are hitting Archaon at the end of the day. And yeah, Archaon actually getting routed off there, so Malekith's able to win that engagement, beat him down with the support there particularly, and you can see a lot of those Marauders and Chaos Warriors also being routed off in that pocket. Of course, the Death Hag does cause terror. She's currently over here inundated by these Chaos Knights with Lances, but her terror has definitely been key in routing off a lot of these units in the late game scenario. You can see she's getting some nice attack animations here, and a nice little Gaze of Malice does knock a lot of these guys over. I mean, due to their heavy armor, though, they won't take much damage. But Hargoneth Executioner is holding out very well up on the hill here. They've managed to rack up quite a few kills, 71 so far, and an XP Chevron, so really solid performance there. The Chaos Knights with Lances charged into this pocket, did a ton of shock damage to the Witch Elves, but as soon as the Witch Elves do the attacks, they're going to rampage these guys, or give them the Enraged trait, rather, so they are going to go Enraged. And then the Black Art of Nagaron are going to get in here with their anti-large armor piercing, with Malekith himself also leading the charge here. So some sweet cinematic action, and a nice burning head from my opponent. It's pretty much going to clean up the rest of those. Wow, that must have been overcast, because that actually did a lot of damage to those Black Art of Nagaron. So Archaon coming back in the late game there. But that did miscast, and now we're going to drop a Soul Stealer, which should be able to finish off Archaon's HP. And as soon as Archaon goes down, we're probably going to see an army losses situation for the Ruinous Powers here. So, sorry Archaon, the end times is cancelled. Didn't anyone tell you? He falls over from the Soul Stealer there, and with that, the Terror Rout is going to take place, and all the rest of the forces of Chaos will shatter. So, well played to my opponent. Super fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let's go ahead and take a look at the post breakdown. So, Malekith himself only got 40 kills there, but ended up being able to get the more favorable end of that duel. Because my opponent overextended a little bit there, we were able to pull back to the safety of the Blackguard of Naggarond and the Witch Elves and, you know, win that engagement in the late game there. The Witch Elves, you don't see them brought too often, and I'll show you guys why in just a moment, but I still like having one unit exactly for that type of situation, for where if your opponent overextends, you're able to do enough damage to him to proc that rampage, then you know, you can take them down pretty easily, honestly, at the end of the day. The Cold One Chariots both did very well, you know, taking down Chaos Knights with lances, and quite a few Hounds also. You know, they themselves were taken down at the end of the day. Dark Riders definitely underperformed, but the Hargoneth Executioners ended up at 106, did very well for themselves in the Blackguard. The Witch Elves, of course, the Death Hag, 91 herself. The Death Hag on the Chariot's pretty decent. It does quite a bit of armor-piercing anti-infantry, also gives your guys a physical resistance buff in the front line, and causes terror, so I like that option quite a bit in this particular matchup, because Chaos is somewhat weak to terror, not as much as they used to be, but for my opponent there, man, those Chaos Knights with lances, I really like these guys in this matchup, just because the Dark Elves really can't match you in terms of cav. I mean, Cold One Knights will do okay, but Chaos Knights with lances have more unit models, better combat stats, and a much better charge bonus. So if they get a clean charge on Cold One Knights, they will destroy them. And I mean, you can pretty much win the mobility phase, as my opponent did with Hounds and so on, using them to take down the Dark Riders. And then that allows you to cycle charge with impunity with the Chaos Knights there. And my opponent did a very good job of that. At the end of the day, though, just didn't quite have the armor-piercing anti-large to take down the Death Hag, and then getting overextended there with Archaon was definitely pretty rough. But overall, very well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this battle. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. And so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you once again for watching, and we'll see you next time.